This is Jefferson Alders from Giving is Good, and today we are bringing you Dwayne Weehunt from SOS International. He runs a very interesting organization, a charity, a nonprofit, a ministry. It probably flows under all of those thought processes, right?
It does.
You are working all over the world.
We are.
You are helping at-risk children all over the planet. And what we want to do today is we want to tell other people what they can do. A lot of people don't really understand child slavery, sex trafficking. They don't understand what really goes on around the world. They don't understand what happens in America.
Yeah.
And a lot of people may never have the chance to see or hear or know about your organization. So what we want to do is we want to bring your cause, what you're trying to accomplish, to everyone. And then that way, if somebody is out there and they go, hey, that breaks my heart, I want to give to that cause, that means something to me. I'm a father of daughters, okay? Dwayne, you're a father of daughters, right?
I am, and a granddaughter.
And a granddaughter.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to have a discussion about at-risk youth, child slavery, sex trafficking. This is a tough subject for a lot of people.
It is.
And I really want to give the viewers an opportunity to see your heart, hear about some of the things that you're doing, understand how they can get involved. So we're going to try to give them some opportunities to say, hey, what if I wanted to jump in and help? How could I help? What if I wanted to give? How can I give? How can that benefit? Okay.
Great.
So what we're going to do, Dwayne, can you tell us about something that most of us don't even want to hear about? We don't, because it's painful. It's not fun it's not fun to discuss. It's not fun to talk about, but I believe it needs to be highlighted. I believe we need to hear about what you're doing. Can you just kind of tell everybody, tell us how it started, tell us from your heart what it is that you're trying to accomplish, where you think it's going. Just fill us in. Tell us what's going on.
You know, when you tackle something as big as sex slavery, it's a global issue. It's not any one country's issue. There are networks of traffickers, just like cartels that run drugs. They run females all over the planet. So it's not a small issue. And I think sometimes there's a tendency in all of our hearts, mine included, that when we see something that's big, we don't really know how to address it. So a lot of times, like you said, people will just turn away from it. Yeah. But I want you to know there is something that we can do about sex trafficking. It's an evil that's around us. It's in it. You know, the state of Texas, which is where we're sitting here talking right now, it's a number 2 in the nation for sex trafficking. There's literally a freeway of girls coming from Central and South America into the U.S. through the state of Texas. We just had a meeting in downtown Fort Worth with the Attorney General of the state of Texas, and he is fighting this issue hard. And you know, a lot of it is just education. A lot of it is just becoming aware of what's happening, not only here, but around the world, because you see it. It happens around you. There's a neighborhood that's just on the other side of the railroad tracks from here in Keller, Texas, where a gentleman had a home. He had 20 girls in it. He was running 20 girls out of that house, and he was busted for sex trafficking. So it's happening all over the world.
That's so hard for somebody like myself to even think that that's possible in my community.
It's in your neighborhood.
In my neighborhood.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
You know, and I know it does exist, but keep telling us about it. I mean, we need to hear the reality of what is happening.
Yes.
You know, we need to understand what is possible and how we can get involved and combat it.
Yeah. So we've worked mostly in Asia. We started 28 years ago working with trafficking victims.
Wow.
So we've been doing this for a while. And basically, you know, what you have to do is you have to build some funnel that you can run girls through. Because these individuals are some of the most broken individuals on planet Earth. I mean, they've been shattered. And you just think about a young lady who, against her will, has been kidnapped or taken. In Asia, they literally lock them in a room or a cage for 3 years. They don't see the light of day. And they're sexually molested over and over and over and over until their will is completely shattered and broken. So these are the kind of individuals we're talking about stepping in and bringing to a place of health and healing. And I can tell you this, I've learned, I'm a Christian, I don't know, we're talking probably to all kinds of different people, but I've learned that anything that the enemy, the devil, can do to the human heart, God can completely heal. We've seen the most broken, shattered things on planet Earth become whole and healthy and healing, productive members of society.
Through Jesus.
Through the Lord. I'm telling you, that's where healing comes. That's where the life comes. And so, you know, we work in a lot of areas. We work with at-risk kids. We do feeding. We drill water wells and give them to communities that don't have water. We do feeding locally. We have a big warehouse here that we give food to different organizations that are touching the poor and marginalized, mostly children. But this is different. Trafficking is different than poverty. Poverty or lack of resources can lead to trafficking, but there's evil involved in this.
True evil.
True evil.
Stuff that most of us don't understand.
You know, we've seen things that I don't want to tell you, I can't tell you, just because of the nature of what happens, but it's pure evil. That's what it is. So, you know, we've seen, you can take these girls, bring them into a community, love them, begin to minister, value, worth, healing, and life to them, begin to teach them job skills training, and they can be reintegrated into society. They become moms and wives, and you know, they become productive members of society. So I have a lot of faith in this issue now. When I started, I'm like everybody else, like, what are you going to do? You know, I mean, this is a massive problem.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of faith in this issue now. I've seen the Lord can change lives.
After these young ladies, and I know it's not a fully female issue.
It's not. It's
I know
not
it
a fully
happens to
female.
young
It does.
men,
It happens
boys.
to a lot of young men.
How after their humanity is stripped from them, literally, right?
Yeah.
After they've been abused and they've been removed from their homes.
Yeah.
What is the process? Do y'all go and help them rebuild their lives, or do you have ancillary partners that come in and help you get them back to their families, disciple them? What happens?
So, you know, the first thing that you have to do is a legal assessment. The very first thing you have to do. They all have totally different kinds of legal issues. A lot of these females are in places that they legally shouldn't be. They don't have paper of any kind. They aren't members of those communities or even those nations sometimes. So you have to do a legal assessment first.
Wow.
And then you have to figure out what kind of pathway legally you're going to take a girl. Now, I can tell you, I just want to tell you something about rescue. Most people don't understand it. There's lots of ways. It's as individual as a person's story. You know how when you have a story, our stories may be similar in some ways, but your story is unique to you. My story is unique to me. Same thing in trafficking. There are pathways, there are similarities, but it's unique to the individual. The same way with the rescue. It is unique to the individual, and we create pathways so we can encounter them. But this is one important thing I want to tell you about rescuing a girl. A little girl is taken when she's, let's say, 12 years old, and she's forced against her will. Her will is completely broken. And now she's in this place. Now, if she's not a minor any longer, and you go in and you grab her and you force her out of that place, her will is once again not activated in what's happening to her life. And if you're not careful, she can become a victim in her rescue. I know that's a funny concept to understand, but people who are victimized have a hard time finding health and healing. And so we found that you have to get them activated in their own rescue. Now it's a strange thing to do, but what we actually do is we have communities in the red light district. And we have dental, we have medical, we have A to Z T feeding, we have Bible studies inside of brothels, we have all of this outreach, prayer, we'll bury dead people, whatever it is that needs to be done in these communities, we as a church go in to serve. And it creates inroads by which over time people begin to trust you. And so we have a church like in one area, it's one of the largest red light districts in Asia, we'll have 1,000 girls who are working that come to church on a Saturday night. And so here's the thing that you have to realize when you talk about that kind of an issue. We're talking slavery. Okay, think children of Israel in Egypt. They had to make brick. They had to serve Pharaoh. They had no choice. They were slaves.
Slaves.
That's where these people's lives are. These females are slaves. But they begin to come. They begin to hear testimonies of other ladies who have come out.
Okay.
They begin to hear testimony of what God's done in other people's lives. And some of these girls will pray, receive the Lord, and go back in and work.
Because they don't know what else to do.
Because they're a slave.
Wow.
And then slowly over time, their will gets activated in that thing. And they say to one of our girls, we want to come. And we say, come on, we'll take you. And that's one way. That's one way that we take girls. Another thing that helps with all these females have children, no matter how old they are.
Really?
Yeah, there's so many babies that are born in a brothel. And a statistic that I know is 95% of children born in the brothel will end up being molested, take that on as a living, and die inside of the brothel. God. So an outreach towards the children and taking them and bringing them into a safe place where they're loved, fed, educated, but their mothers still have access to them. We've seen lots and lots and lots of mommies come and join their daughters in freedom.
Because you're giving their children a form of love that they're not used to getting anywhere else.
They're not getting it anywhere.
And the mom sees it, right?
Absolutely.
They're attracted to it.
Absolutely.
They're attracted to what they don't have, which is God, Jesus, that spirit which that they don't know how to get, but they see it, so they want to be a part of it.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Yep.
How is it that something so wonderful, okay, the ministry, you're able to operate in such a evil, scary environment? How can you have a church for a bunch of children that are operating in a red light district without causing a bunch of alarm and not getting shut down? How do you stay under the radar so that and not to give away any secrets, we don't want to give away any secrets.
Well, I'll just tell you this, we're not under the radar.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have
You're on the radar.
Oh yeah,
they want to keep you shut down.
On the radar.
Okay.
But the thing about it is the Lord protects. I could tell you stories, but I don't want to tell you stories.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, it's a dangerous thing, but it's lives.
Yeah.
Right.
It's hard. We can do videos. We can showcase what they're doing, but what they're doing is so sensitive. Okay, Dwayne can only say so much. He can give you the plight. He can walk you through what it is that they see and how they see it and what comes from it, but the intricacies of it, because what they're doing is dangerous.
Yeah.
It is scary, and they can only tell us so much.
That's why I use terms like Asia, red light district.
Right.
I'm not pinpointing where it is because it's dangerous for ladies that we have working there.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't know where this video is going to go. You never know. It's
That's
on the
true.
World Wide Web.
That's true.
So, I don't want to pinpoint positions because we have, over the course of time, we have some very successful outreaches at rescuing girls. So last year alone, we rescued one girl every 5 days.
Really?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's amazing. That's an amazing thing. And, you know, you're not asking me this, but I'll just tell you this.
Please.
The people listening, the people that are friends of ours, the people that are supporters, they're the ones really doing that rescue once every 5 days, because it costs money to bring a girl with the kind of brokenness and the kind of medical problems that they have and bring them to health and healing. And we can only move as fast as we have the resources to move. And so, you know, they really have the key to the throttle, how fast you can rescue girls. We have some funnels built that we can run girls through now, and we've seen tremendous success. And we
To
just
help
need,
get them out.
We just need to add gasoline to that vehicle.
So I'm gonna paraphrase what Dwayne's saying. You're saying if you had more funds,
Yes.
you could save more children.
Yeah, absolutely. No question about it.
And
It's a limiting factor.
funds being a true, it's a wall. If you could get more money, the more kids you could save, the more people you could move out of those environments, back to their homes, back to their villages, back to the cities where they came from.
Yep.
It's amazing that when you think about how much money is on the planet, and you don't have people throwing hundreds of millions of dollars at you to help you.
Yeah, we don't.
You know, I mean, but it's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you wake up and you go, where's the benefactor that I could give this information to, and they could, maybe one day they'll see this video and they'll go, you know what, I have children, I have a heart for helping those girls get out of those environments and those children get out of those environments, and maybe that's the way they'll find you. You know, that's what we want your story to be about for us, is to showcase who you are, what you're doing, why you're doing it, and how the benefits of somebody giving can then push across the continents and help those people, help those children.
But even as much as giving, that's very important. Believe me, it's integral to what happens. But also educate yourself about what's going on. There's so much information out there about sex trafficking, about human trafficking in general. It's become sort of a cultural phenomenon to talk about. We've been doing this, like I said, for 28 years, which back then nobody was talking about it. But today, there's all kinds of places that you can educate yourself. And it's a little bit like the Matrix. Remember in the Matrix, they took a pill, they had to choose between a blue pill and a red pill maybe. And he said, if you take this one, then you're going down the hole. I mean, sex trafficking is like that a little bit. I mean, you start winding your way into it, and then you realize, wow, this is such a prevalent secret in our society. It's so prevalent.
What is something that you tell people, because he speaks at events, he does interviews and videos and puts on all types of fundraisers. What are some of the things that you tell parents? How can they educate their children so that they can keep them from ever falling into these? Even in America, this is a monster issue.
It's a monster issue.
You know?
And girls are being, seduced right out of their bedrooms in North Texas and taken into trafficking scenarios. It happens. You can read about it in the newspaper here. The thing is, traffickers have a unique ability to play upon insecurity and need. And that's what they do. And so I think the most important thing for you with your children is that they know who they are, that they have confidence in who they are, that they belong in a family, that they are part of the family of God. They're a part of the redemption of Christ, what their identity is in Jesus. The more secure they are in who they are and who you are as a family, the less susceptible you make them. Now, I know there's popular shows out there, Taken and those kind of things, where, they just come and grab them and run away. That may happen, but that's not the norm. The norm of what I've seen is they want girls that nobody is looking for. They don't want a girl with a daddy who's involved in their life. They want a girl who's a single mom.
Yeah.
They want a girl that, or maybe a single dad that,
Right.
that she doesn't have a mom, and or maybe just two parents that just don't pay attention to their
Yep.
child. They aren't looking for some family child.
They're replacing that family.
That's what they want to do. They
That's
want
what
to
they wanna let
build
them
that
know.
trust,
Yeah.
and they want to say, come on, and as part of our family, you have to work, and this is the work they put them in. And there's all kinds of issues that happen in it, but education is the key. I promise you, education is the key. You can look up the Attorney General of the State of Texas. His name's Kent Paxton. He's produced videos that are online that tell you how to spot trafficking in the U.S. They have a network of local truckers and inter-U.S. truckers that fight it. Walmart's helping them fight it. This is a big issue. Marriott and Hilton and all these big hotel chains are all beginning to educate their people. Starbucks is beginning to educate their people. American Airlines educates their gate agents, the people who check in people, and their people that are on board the aircraft, because it's happening on such a large scale. And so you've seen it.
Just don't realize it.
You just don't realize
Yeah.
it. And if you begin to get educated about it, you'll realize, it's so simple in today's society. You don't even have to get involved. You can dial a 1-800 number. You can tell them where you are and what you think you're seeing, and you will never be called to testify or witness. The police will come and get involved in that situation just to find out.
Wow.
So there are ways that you can fight it, but
I'm assuming on your website, and after our videos, there will be a clip to SOS International. I'm assuming on your website, all that kind of information is there for the public to go and
some
look
of
at.
that local information is not there. We more have been focused on trafficking internationally. You will find out
Right.
a lot about international trafficking there. But if you go to the state of Texas, the Attorney General's website, Kent Paxton, you can find all that local information.
So that's a good resource
It's a great
for the
resource.
Texans.
Yeah, and
Right.
One thing, what's the guy's name? Matthew McConaughey. You know Matthew
Yeah,
McConaughey?
yeah.
Okay, he's
Love that
friends.
guy.
He's friends with the Attorney General,
Yeah.
and he's made some videos with the Attorney General. So
Really?
yeah,
Okay.
he has daughters too.
Yeah, he does.
So this is an issue that touches everybody. Everybody has a mom, or a sister, or an aunt, or a wife, or daughters. Everybody, right? So this is an issue that affects everyone.
How can you tell the viewers if not everybody has the ability to give money?
Yeah.
Okay. Not everyone will give money. Some people will only give their time.
Yeah.
How can somebody come to Dwayne and say, Dwayne, I would like to volunteer to help out? I bet there's probably a vetting
There is.
issue that you go through to get
Actually,
people. Can you walk everybody
Okay,
through that?
for us on an international level, I don't take Western people and put them on staff in a foreign country.
Sure.
So as far as that kind of coming and volunteering, that's not really an option with us. However, we do a lot of stuff locally. So we do have panels, and we have lots of opportunities for you to educate people and make people aware, and become an advocate, a spokesman. You could become a social media ambassador,
Okay.
where we push content to you, and then you push it to the people that follow you, helping
like
to
that.
educate them. So we do have ways. It is important for people to get involved besides just giving. If you're a praying person, man, this is a spiritual fight.
Yeah.
And, we need all the prayer we can get.
Against pure evil.
Oh, yeah, against pure evil. So,
I want to go back to this just because I think this is interesting. Are you saying that somebody who has the skill of social media,
yeah,
right, can get
absolutely.
involved and help SOS International?
Absolutely, man.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Everybody's sitting at home on Facebook,
Yeah.
Twitter, whatever.
Yeah.
He can get information to you. you can then push it out, spider out to your sphere of influence.
Yeah.
And that is an education process that then teaches other people about maybe what to look for. And that also helps girls in an indirect way, or children that could be the future product of these issues.
Absolutely. If you go on our websites, sosresponds.org, we have a place there called Social and Brand Ambassador. And you can go in and you can sign up, and immediately we'll begin pushing content to you that you can put on Facebook or Instagram.
That is awesome. I
So,
mean, if you think about it.
And we do it in English and Spanish.
Huh.
So
Anybody can get involved.
Anybody can get involved.
Anybody
Man,
can help.
A kid can help.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Think about as people grow and understand, and the Attorney General gets more information out there, and then more people come to your site and can grab that information and push it out. I mean, you can really change people's lives.
Yeah, absolutely you can.
By doing Facebook.
Yeah. You know, we've been a voice in the state of Texas now for over a decade. We have these big events where we just expose people to the concept of trafficking and that they can do something. And we've been doing that over a decade, and over that time we've probably rescued I'd say we probably rescued 3,000 girls over that 10-year period, from being that voice of just people being in a room and responding and saying, you know what, I want to help get those girls out of that deal. But there's a residual effect to doing something for 10 years that we didn't anticipate. It wasn't strategic at all. And you know, there's people, girls, ladies who have been on our panels. There's now 3 homes in West Texas, 2 homes in Denton. The lady that makes all the meetings for the Attorney General of the state of Texas, she was first exposed to it at one of our events 10 years ago. So just learning about it, just being around it, just allowing God to build something in your heart for it. You never know where that's going to take you in 10 years.
Yeah. People can get involved with SOS International at all levels, right? You're not going to do what you would normally do in other ministries. It's a different type of foundation, organization, ministry. It's doing something very unique around the planet, which is a crazy issue. It's hard for most people, most normal people, to even understand how it's possible.
It is.
But I'm really I'm amazed that anyone can help, because they can just use their social media.
Yeah, anybody can help.
That is so fantastic. Yeah. If more people could give money, they could save more kids. Yeah. I mean, so if there was a call to action when it comes to what it is that we want to showcase for you and put something out there for people, you helping children and doing what you do, we've known about them for a long time. I appreciate you coming. Is there anything, you know, that you really want that viewer to know? What is that piece of your heart that you go, if you could just do this, it will make such a big difference in what it is that we're trying to do around the world? What's that thing that you believe that you've seen more than anything?
Just any individual we're talking to, you're asking that question.
Yeah.
What can they do? I think as much as anything, you can care and you can see people. I think we live in such a busy, fast-paced world that it's easy for us. There's so many voiceless, hidden individuals in our society. And I'm saying, if you can just begin to notice people.
Not turn a blind eye.
Don't turn a blind eye.
Be aware.
But really see
right?
them. Really see them.
Yeah.
You know?
That's interesting.
Because I think a lot of times we don't see what happens. I could tell you a really interesting story about that if you want to know.
Would love to.
But it's kind of preachy little. But
that's okay. Sometimes we can get preachy. And
yeah. So
this is a subject I think that deserves a little preachiness. How about that?
You know, there's a Dallas Theological that's here in the area where we live, and they do one class every year where they invite, I guess, the top students from around the country, and it's a preaching class. And there were famous household kind of preacher names and that would come and judge a competition. So they would take these men and women that were going to be sort of the cream of the crop. This is the future leaders of the Christian church in America.
Up and coming preachers.
This is them, man.
Yeah.
They're it. They're this, you know, they're the shining stars of Christianity, and they bring them in, and they have one assignment for the entire semester, and it's to preach the Good Samaritan. That's it. And so they spend a whole semester working on one 15-minute sermon that they're going to present, and it's household guys that are going to listen to their presentation. The day comes, they're all held in a room. They walk out, they walk down a hallway, they walk onto a stage, they stand in front of these famous preacher guys, and they give their 15-minute presentation.
Okay.
Halfway between the room they go out of and the stage they stand on is a Coke machine. And sitting beside that Coke machine, they plant a homeless man. He's just sitting in this hallway.
Wow.
And the entire test, these guys have studied the Good Samaritan for an entire year to give a 15-minute sermon.
Yeah.
And the entire test is, at the end of their sermon, they ask them one question. What was beside the Coke machine in the hallway? Because that is the lesson of the Good Samaritan.
That's amazing.
It's to notice. It's to see people.
Yeah.
And then to offer aid.
Yeah. Do you think anybody fails that test?
I think a lot of us fail that test on a daily basis.
That's
so
right.
I don't want to point fingers at anybody else. But I'm just saying, as
Don't
much
throw
as
the first stone.
No, I don't want to be that guy. But as much as we possibly can, open our eyes and begin to see what's happening around us. Because, you know, a lot of people pray and they ask the Lord to do something about certain situations, and the Lord said, I've done something about that situation. I sent you into the earth.
Yeah. You were there. You were in that situation.
Yeah.
You saw it. Now you're asking me about it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's right.
That's amazing.
So.
Man, I'm enlightened. I appreciate you. I appreciate what you're doing, because I'm a father of children, of daughters. I'm scared to death of the subject.
Yeah, don't be afraid.
Right? We shouldn't be afraid. We shouldn't operate in a spirit of fear.
Light exposes darkness.
That's exactly right. You know, but there's just that thing that we don't understand, and we don't know, and we don't know what to do, and you always go, you know, and some of it's fueled by just media, right? Yeah. We've seen Taken, and we go, well, that can happen to any of us.
Oh, yeah.
Those are just movies.
They're just movies.
But unfortunately, when we hear the subject, that's what we think of, because we haven't educated ourselves like we educate ourselves on so many other things.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Thank you so much for coming and enlightening us today, bringing this subject matter to the forefront so that we can tell people about it, so they can get involved with SOS International. You can give your time, you can give your money, or you can give both, because giving is good.
Amen.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.